All right, here we are. Hour number 2 underway. On Talkback, all 3 lines are open at 721-1290.
And there's, less than 2 weeks before the Iowa caucus.
Oh, that's right.
That's heavy and underway as well.
As they call it the Hawkeye Cockeye.
Right. The caucus that you traditionally win if you don't plan on winning the actual presidential election.
Ouch. Okay.
Some of our last caucus winners are, for example, Mike Huckabee.
Okay.
Rick Santorum.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you go back, maybe Pat Buchanan.
No,
there's just a bunch of names that, kind of floated around for a while, but never quite up there. It looks like at this point, it's a dead heat between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. These are the 2 names that seem to be floating back and forth between each other. And yesterday, Trump pulled out every gun that he had. I literally mean guns, because the first announcement that came out yesterday, John Wayne's family, specifically, I think her name is Aya Wayne.
Wow.
Of course, that's not the real family name, but I think they've all adopted it.
Yeah.
This is what it sounded like.
His real name was Michael Morrison, by the way.
Yeah. If you want to play this clip real quick.
Is this the one with Sarah Palin?
No, this is Aya Wayne.
Okay, here it is. Okay, this says Aisa Wayne.
Or Aisa, sorry.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
This is the place in Iowa where legends are made. And we have somebody that I want to welcome personally here to the birthplace of John Wayne.
They're at the John Wayne
and,
Museum.
that is Mr. Donald Trump. And hopefully for America, he'll be our next president of the United States. And the reason that I'm here to support Mr. Trump is because America needs help, and we need a strong leader, and we need someone like Mr. Trump with leadership qualities, someone with courage, someone that's strong, like John Wayne.
Oh my!
And I'll tell you what, if John Wayne were around, he'd be standing right here instead of me. So with that, I just want you to welcome Mr. Donald Trump.
Thanks,
That
Bill
is
Grove.
so. Come on, get right next to me. John Wayne would be very, very proud of you right now. I think maybe he would say, "What are you doing?"
Okay. Well, the rest of the family apparently is saying, "What are you doing?" They said, Aisa. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry.
It says Aisa, A-I-S-S-A.
Okay, he's got the computer on his side. That's why Peter and I are talking. Yeah. But they're saying she speaks for herself, not for the family, not for the foundation.
Well, Pilgrim. If you want to vote for Donald Trump, you sure can.
Well, Donald Trump could be pretty comfortable in pronouncing all of John Wayne's movies. None of them have Roman numerals in them, as far as I know.
Okay.
So that was just the start of things. Right after that, we get an announcement from the governor of Iowa. Now, Mr. I think it's Braddock. You got it on the queue here.
I do? Okay.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Branstad.
Branstad, sorry, yeah.
Right.
Mr. Branstad, if I'm not mistaken, is the longest running governor in the country in history.
Wow.
He's been there forever.
Okay.
And he didn't make an announcement for Donald Trump, but he made an announcement of opposition to another candidate who has, I think, been very brave on the issue of ethanol and spoken out against what I see as basically a tax subsidy for something that doesn't make sense. But here's the governor, who is, I believe, a Republican, coming out against Mr. Cruz.
It's Terry Branstad.
And I think that Ted Cruz is ahead right now, but what we're doing is we're trying to educate the people of Iowa. He is the biggest opponent of renewable fuels, and he actually introduced a bill in 2013 to immediately eliminate the renewable fuel standard. He is heavily financed by big oil. So we think that once Iowans realize that fact, they might find other things about him attractive, but I think it would be very damaging to our state, and that's the reason why he hasn't been invited to this, because he hasn't supported renewable fuels, and I believe that would be a big mistake for Iowa to support him. And I know he's ahead in the polls, but the only poll that counts is the one they take on caucus night, and I think it could change between now and then. I think this event is an important, significant step to helping educate the voters in this state, and this state is where it all begins.
And we're not done yet.
No.
Rand Paul started running his, I think, one of his first long-form ads.
Okay.
If you're in Iowa, you get this pretty much all the time, I guess, if you go online. It is the weirdest ad. It's like little cartoon characters,
Yeah.
something like South Park almost looking.
It's very popular on the internet right now.
And they talk in these British voices.
Right.
Like you'll hear them say cruise, like cruz, which I actually think is hilarious.
I know what you're talking about, John.
So, here's what the ad sounds like. And it
Did
is.
you hear about Audit the Fed?
Yes, Rand Paul is trying to stop the out-of-control Fed.
Do others support Audit the Fed too?
The Ted Cruz said so, but did not show up to vote.
Why did he not show up?
He was too busy campaigning.
Campaigning costs money. Where does the Ted Cruz get his money from?
I hear Wall Street money. Millions. Even 1 million from the Goldman Sachs.
Does the Goldman Sachs want to audit the Fed?
I don't think so. They are the Fed.
Why does Ted Cruz take their money if they are the Fed?
I don't know. That is strange.
When Ted Cruz ran for Senate, he did not legally disclose a loan he took from the Goldman Sachs.
How much did Ted Cruz take from the Goldman Sachs?
Over $1 million.
Wow. What does this mean?
It means Ted Cruz receives favors from the special interests.
So why do they call him a grassroots candidate?
I don't know.
But doesn't he claim to be against the establishment?
Yes.
Then which candidate for president is the grassroots candidate?
I hear good things about the Rand Paul. He is for individual liberty, the free market, and auditing the Fed.
Yes, I like this Rand Paul. And his hair. Maybe he should audit the Ted as well.
Yes, I think we need to audit the Ted.
I actually thought that Trump would be the first one to come out with a campaign ad that praised his hair, but apparently Rand Paul is breaking new ground with that. Now, I'm going to save the biggest endorsement for last. We'll do it after the break.
We have to take.
You've probably already heard, if you listen to the news, that Sarah Palin endorsed it, but the speech dragged on for like 20 minutes.
I watched it. I'll give you my reaction.
I summed it down to a minute and a half.
But here's the deal. I like Sarah Palin. Okay, do you remember how vociferous I was about Sarah Palin was great?
You and your wife had to go to counseling over it.
Something happened. So, to whom are we going to listen to now? John King.
Let's listen to Sarah Palin in what was one of the most windy endorsements you can imagine.
Here we go.
Now they're concerned about this ideological purity? Give me a break. Who are they to say that? Oh, and tell somebody like Phyllis Schlafly. She is the Republican conservative movement icon and hero and a Trump supporter. Tell her she's not conservative. How about the rest of us? Right-wing and bitter, clinging, proud clingers of our guns, our God, and our religions and our Constitution. Tell us that we're not red enough? Coming from the establishment. Right.
That's
well,
something else.
He, being the only one who's been willing, he's got the guts to wear the issues that need to be spoken about and debated on his sleeve, where the rest of some of these establishment candidates, they just wanted to duck and hide. They didn't want to talk about these issues till he brought them up. In fact, they've been wearing this political correctness kind of like a suicide vest. And enough is enough. These issues that Donald Trump talks about had to be debated, and he brought them to the forefront, and that's why we are where we are today with good discussion. A good, heated, and very competitive primary is where we are. And now, though, to be lectured that, well, you guys are all sounding kind of angry is what we're hearing from the establishment. Doggone right we're angry, justifiably so, yes. You know, they stomp on our neck, and then they tell us, just chill, okay, just relax. Well, look, we are mad, and we've been had. They need to get used to it. This election is more than just your basic ABCs, anybody but Clinton. It's more than that this go around.
Okay, so there you go. Now, let me be perfectly clear. I will be perfectly clear. My best Richard Nixon.
Put your fingers up.
Thank you very much. Anyway, I'm not a crook. All right, so anyway, I met Sarah Palin when she was here several years ago, when she was running, vice presidential candidate. I was totally overwhelmed by what she just seemed like a genuine, warm, really wonderful, nice person. Okay, in addition to being a public figure, and she was an excellent public speaker. I mean, she had the whole place mesmerized in the palm of her hand. But this appearance was completely different. She just seemed unhinged. She went on and on and on. 20 minutes.
What was Donald Trump doing while she was
Donald
talking?
Trump was standing there, with his hands like clasped in front of him.
Like you're preparing for a soccer free kick.
And he's looking at her, and he has this little smile, and you could read his features. Oh, okay, thank you. That's enough. Oh, okay. No, she's not dead. Oh. So she just didn't stop. Anyway, he was very gracious and said, "Thank you very much, Sarah Palin." So, anyway,
is this the "I want to be vice president" endorsement?
No, I'm thinking not. But anyway, I'd love to know what you guys think. 721-1290. Catherine, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Morning. How are you?
Groovy. How are you, V?
Just fine. Yeah, Sarah Palin. She needed a good editor for her speech, number one.
Well, she needed a writer, first of all.
I don't think she was reading.
No, she was. That was from the hip, baby.
That's probably the problem. And she needs a voice coach.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things that she's always needed. Bernie Sanders is up 60-33 in New Hampshire. I thought that was rather interesting.
Yeah, so his role in New Hampshire is really shaking things up. I had a clip I was going to play, but I didn't put it in because of time. But so he has shaken the race up so much that the runner-up in New Hampshire is John Kasich on the other side. Now you would be like, you might be wondering, well, why does the Democrat vote matter?
Because he calls himself the Prince of Light. Did you know that?
I did see that. He called himself the Prince of Light, and he called Trump the Prince of Darkness. Well, I guess he inferred. He didn't exactly say it.
Who said that?
John Kasich.
John Kasich.
So the reason why Kasich is polling well in New Hampshire and why it matters how good Bernie Sanders is doing is because in New Hampshire, if you're an independent, you can cross the table and vote in the other parties. And so polling there is really skewed. It's actually why these two states are the first two primaries is beyond me. I think it's ridiculous. But they're weird states. They don't really represent the rest of the country. We don't really get a state that represents the rest of the country, I don't think, until we get to Georgia.
Now, isn't that where is Gobbler's Knob? Is that
I think it's a Harry Potter town.
Isn't that the first returns in every election come from Gobbler's Knob? Isn't that right, Catherine?
You're asking me?
I have never heard this before, but possibly.
Because it's the farthest east of any polling place in the country.
Is that in New Hampshire or is it in Vermont?
No, it's in Pennsylvania. Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
Gobbler's, no, but maybe it isn't Gobbler's Knob. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. All I know is the first returns come from some really strange-sounding little hamlet on the
with
East
like
Coast.
6 voters or something?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So Gobbler's Knob is apparently dealing with the
That's Punxsutawney Phil.
Yes,
I got my places mixed up. I'm sorry. But it was such a cool sounding place, so I like it.
I was teleported to Gobbler's Knob for a second.
Anyway, Catherine, I interrupted you. Please go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just thinking it was really interesting how this political season is really heated up. It's kind of nice in some ways because everything's kind of exploding all over the place. And I like that. So we'll see what happens, huh?
All right. Thanks, Catherine.
Sure. Bye.
Appreciate the call. I think it's Dixville Notch. You might want to look that one up. Anyway, I don't know.
I don't know if they'll let me do that on a computer.
Dixville for crying out loud. Anyway, Dixville Notch, traditionally the first precinct to report in a presidential election. And they have a pretty good record of, I guess, guessing who's going to be. They picked Kennedy back in the 60s. So anyway.
Wait, that's a pretty good record.
Well, did you know how close that election was between he and Nixon? It was really close.
But you have a 50-50 shot, right? Like one election out of 100 years.
Fine, whatever. What a snob. All right. Tyler, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Hi, guys.
I just like saying Dixville Notch. It's a
that's-
cool name, that's all.
Yeah.
Not quite as cool as Gobbler's Knob, but it's up there. I'm sorry, Tyler. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
So I've been having a conversation with my dad, who lives over in Virginia, this morning about what happened yesterday with Trump and Palin, and it's actually kind of interesting. I find it interesting. My dad was one of them guys who really liked Palin during the presidential election, and then her popularity kind of dwindled. She fell off the scene. She wasn't in the limelight, and then she'd pop up and do something crazy, and everybody would kind of roll their eyes, and then she'd go away. I'm kind of confused with what happened yesterday. I don't think Trump needed the endorsement. I begin to wonder if this might be part of the RNC trying to take down Trump by cahooting Palin into endorsing him instead of Cruz, because Cruz is more of a Tea Party guy than Trump, and Palin was a Tea Party girl, and her endorsement for Trump may raise questions with people like my father, who don't really understand what is going on and why she's going for Trump.
So wait, well, you think that the RNC, or the quote-unquote establishment,
right,
was working with her,
right,
despite her record of being an outsider,
well,
to endorse Trump, hoping to hurt Trump?
They nominated her for the vice presidency. According to the Democrat left-leaning news, this is the biggest endorsement Trump could have received for the campaign of this presidency.
Yeah, I think it really, I don't know if it helped him so much, but it really hurts Cruz. That seems to be the analysis most people have, because Cruz people would be more likely to align with Sarah.
Well, but can the Cruz people, the people who are conservative, right-leaning, all the Cruz followers, can they swallow Trump just because Palin endorsed him? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. My dad told me today he's really likes Cruz, and I told him, you have to listen to Monday's Talkback show online at Talkback, KGVO, Newstalk, KGVO.com. Look at Monday's show, listen to it, and that'll help you make up your mind for Cruz. So, anyways, since today's open phones, and I've got a story here from the Examiner, Washington Examiner, came out yesterday.
All right.
I'll make it real quick. Did you guys hear about the story about all of the student visas overstayed from 2015?
Yes, I did see this.
Over 527,127 people overstayed their visas under two programs only. They're not counting the other major visa programs, including the F1 student visas, multiple H and L foreign worker visas, and the J1 exchange visas. They're not counting those numbers. And so far, to date, there are still 482,781 people, foreign nationals, that were allowed to come into this country, allowed to stay for a certain period of time, who have now overstayed their visas and are running around unaccounted for.
It really is the big solution. If Trump really wants to solve the immigration issue or illegal immigration, it's not through the border. It's through the airport.
Right. It's legally. It's the legal immigration. It's how they got us in 9/11, right?
Well, yeah, the flyers had student visas.
16 out of 17 of those guys were overstayed student visas. And this number is not even counting the student visas, right? If they included all of these visa programs, I think Americans would be shocked.
Well, let me ask you something, Tyler. You and John both. How difficult would it be to track these people down?
It's hard.
Well,
we can't find a woman in Missoula whose face was on camera using someone else's credit card. And she has long red hair. I mean, you'd think someone like that would stand out, but apparently we can't find her. We can't find a laptop that was stolen from a hotel downtown.
I want to point this out because in my mind, there are certain things that are very, very important to this country. One is the exchange program, visa program, the migrants, the refugees, the immigrants. That is issue number one. Issue number two is guns. How is it that they can't find 4 what was the number, 400,000 people, but they expect to take back 360 million guns. I still can't wrap my mind around that. That blows my mind.
So who does a person with your priorities choose in the primary? Like if you were in Iowa, who would you caucus? Who would you caucus
I'm not in
for?
Iowa.
I know.
I'm not in Iowa.
Okay, well, you're Montana. Let's just pretend everyone makes it to Montana, which we know they won't. But let's just say everyone's still in the ballgame by the time it gets here. Who would you go and vote for?
Right now, I like Rubio. I could settle for Trump, but only just for pure amusement to kind of see what he's going to do to the country. Hoping that he's going to be a one-termer. But
so you're not a Cruz guy.
I truly believe in Rob Nadelson's explanation in my own research that I've done on the constitutionality of being born in the United States.
That he's not eligible then.
That he's not. He is a citizen, but he's not eligible to be president.
Right. He's not a natural born citizen.
I've argued that for years now, since Rob started talking about it and I started researching.
Okay. Well, thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate the call, man.
Yeah, Palin has her ABC. I have an ABCD. Anybody but Clinton or Donald.
All right, 721-1290. It looks like your Rubio thing. I don't know. It's going to happen.
We'll see. Yeah, that's good. Big one. I don't expect him to win in Iowa or New Hampshire.
Okay.
If he does, that'd be a huge upset.
Okay, so we're going to come right back. Lines are open. We have lots more to share with you.
I should maybe change the B to Bernie, Clinton, Donald.
Okay.
Against Bernie, Clinton, Donald. There's my lineup.
But right now, JR is on line one. JR, thanks for holding. You're on Talkback. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to comment about yesterday. We're talking about the Kerr Dam.
Yes, sir.
Which was owned by PP&L for years, and then last year, Northwestern owned it. PP&L, they were paying the tribe $19 million a year just to lease the land.
Mm-hmm.
And the tribe bought it for $18.3 million, less than 1 year's lease, which was a steal because the fair market value was like $200 million.
Right.
Plus, PP&L was also paying over $1 million in taxes to Lake County. Most of it went to the schools. And now that the tribe owns Kerr Dam, they've decided not to reimburse the county any of that tax money, even though there's, tribal members' kids go to school there.
So let me ask you something, JR. Did the county, Lake County, ever kick up a fuss about that? Was anything ever said?
They went before their tribal council here just recently.
Mm-hmm.
And Vern Finley, tribal council chairman, says, we've decided not to pay any of the, lost tax money because we're not sure if Kerr Dam's going to be profitable. And I about fell out of my chair because not only were they paying them $19 million a year plus $1 million in taxes, that's $20 million. PP&L was making a profit of $6 to $8 million a year. So you've got, they were making $25 to $30 million a year, which the tribes are going to be making, but yet they say they can't afford it because they don't know if they're going to make a profit.
Well, just because PP&L can make the profit doesn't mean another entity can, right?
Are you saying the tribes are incapable?
Not as.
You'd have.
Let me just say they don't have a lot of experience in running an energy source.
The only way that they can't make more than $20 million is if the dam breaks. I mean, it runs all the time. They sell energy all the time. It was just a poor excuse.
Yeah, the river hasn't stopped running as far as I know.
And our county commissioners, they're so incompetent. They say, okay, and
Are you talking about Lake County?
Do you have children, or do you know anybody in the schools? Are they not going to be able to make ends meet next year, or what?
Yeah, it's going to be a big problem. And 80% of the county is non-tribal. I mean, of the reservation is non-tribal. 40% of the reservation is owned by non-tribal members. Non-tribal members pay all the taxes, and the tribe gets over $100 million a year from the federal government. Yet their members, half of them, are living in poverty. And where does it go? And then the tribal members go before the council and say, we want an outside independent audit done to see where all this money's going. And they say, oh, no, we know where every penny's going. That's their answer. We can account for every penny, and nobody knows where it goes.
All right, JR, thanks for the call.
All right, bye.
Have a good day. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're getting a call in about a missing 9-year-old male. Hold on. Put this on speaker. It's
Stand by. Hold on.
it's the line that I'm on.
Yeah. All right.
Put it on. Put it on.
All right.
Male is described as 4 feet 3 inches, blonde hair, poofy red jacket, blue jeans, and black snow boots, with the first name of Nathan. If located, please dial 911.
Okay. Sorry, repeated twice. Apparently, there's a missing 9-year-old male in the area of South 10th Street West. You heard the description there. I was in a hurry to try to get it up on the air for
Wearing
you.
a poofy jacket, yeah.
Yeah, was it a red poofy jacket?
Yeah, red poofy jacket.
I'm going to call the police while you pick up this other caller and find out what's going on.
Yeah. All right, let's get Mike on the line. Mike, you're on Talkback. Go ahead, sir.
Well, yeah, I always enjoy all the way everybody bashes Trump, but here's what I always tell people when you're bashing Trump, calling him a clown. If he was to give you his entire domain, everything he owned, and said, run this for 90 days, there ain't a dadgum one of you could do it. I guarantee you, no way in hell could do it.
Well, he's been bankrupt so many times, I wonder if he can do it.
Well, I don't care if he's been. So if I've been bankrupt a couple of times, you wouldn't want to run my stuff, would you?
No.
But I can tell you right now. But here's the thing that really gets me. You wouldn't be talking about immigration, all this stuff, hadn't been for Trump.
This
but
is true.
One thing that does get me, Trump has thousands of employees, thousands of them. Okay, and he also knows all kinds of Hollywood people who, because he was a celebrity in Hollywood, knows goboons of them. Has one of them people come forward and said, this is what Trump did? And nobody has found one of them. So it speaks pretty highly of the man. I can guarantee you on any one of these other candidates, you can go dig around, you can find somebody that will definitely say something really nasty about him, say, I got screwed over by this. But Trump has, and Trump has not. So this always has amazed me that if there was out there by now somebody to found one, and then listen to these goofy Republican people say, "Oh, well, he's going to collapse. He's nothing but a clown." I should be so lucky to fly around in a jet that's better than a thing. But I want to make one quick comment about Sarah Palin.
All right,
here you go. This is for all you women around here. Sarah Palin has probably the best-looking knees. If you're top 10 in the world, has the best-looking knees. And what is wrong with her knees? She was an avid runner, and now she has arthritis in her knees and cannot run. So keep this in mind. If you're going to run 5 miles a day, you might want to try something soft or something, because I tell you what, as far as looking at her knees, and I've looked at a lot of these knees that most women have fairly ugly knees, but Sarah Palin's got the top 10. Anyway, but remember, no matter how good they look, they cannot take a steady pounding of running 5-10 miles a day.
All right.
So keep that in mind. It's a wonder she's not in on crutches. So,
thank you, Dr. Mike. Good job.
Thanks for your
buddy.
analysis.
Appreciate it.
The stuff you hear on the radio.
Okay, now so you were just on the phone a second ago.
Yeah, I called the police. If I'm not mistaken, the voice on that call was Mark Thanes.
Okay.
The police and the sheriff's department are still trying to find out what's going on.
Let's get Lorraine on the phone. She's been waiting ever so patiently. Lorraine, good morning, and thank you for calling Talkback. What's on your mind?
Well, I think talking about Trump and Palin.
Yes, ma'am.
That and I really like Palin, but I'm not sure if that really helped him last night. But for Trump, I think this is the most interesting campaign I've ever seen. Usually they're boring to me, and Trump has put the fight into the other guys, and I think he's just made it very interesting, and I'm excited about if we all stand behind him. I think he's going to get things done.
Well, it's interesting you would say that, Lorraine, because I think one of two things is going to happen, okay? And I don't think there's any middle ground here, okay? Either he's going to be, if he wins, okay, if he wins, he's going to be the biggest flop we've ever had as president. Or somehow, some way, he's going to be a person who gets things done, who is just going to surprise the heck out of people every day. It's good. I think it's going to be one or the other.
We've had some pretty big flops as presidents. Franklin Pierce will be hard to beat.
Well,
I don't expect, even if he wins, I don't expect him to be one of our worst presidents.
Well, here's what I think, Lorraine, and John, I've already told you this, but I think what's going to happen if Donald Trump is elected, I think he's going to be all alone in the White House, basically, because no one's going to want to work with him. No, seriously, because the Democrats aren't going to want to work with him. The Republicans, especially the traditional Republicans, won't want to work with him. So he may be kind of one of those imperial presidents.
I do want to keep this conversation going, but there's a more important conversation we need to have right now with Travis on line 1. The police department has some information about the missing boy.
Lorraine, thank you for calling.
Okay,
We appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Have a good day. All right, Travis Welsh, Missoula City Police Department. Good morning.
Good morning, Peter.
What's happening?
Well, this morning we had a report of a 9-year-old boy who was supposed to walk to school. He attends Franklin School. Apparently, he did leave and go to school, but he never arrived. It appears he was last seen walking southbound on Garfield from 11th Street. He is said to be wearing a red puffy coat, jeans, black snow boots. He has blonde, shaggy hair and blue eyes, and he has been diagnosed with autism. So we're looking for public's help in spotting him and helping getting him back to a safe place.
That's like a block and a half from where I used to live. I used to live on South 10th Street.
Well, hopefully somebody will see him. That red puffy coat should stand out a little bit. So,
now, do you know who reported him missing? Was it the school or the parents? Or
Peter, I've just been informed that he has been located.
Oh, thank heavens.
Yes, so good news all around there,
All right,
and
that's
sounds
great.
like he's safe.
That's awesome.
Well, that's
All right.
great to hear.
What? Anything else, Travis?
Nope, that's it.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate your call.
Good ending. Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. All right, thank heavens. That's
Well, that was awesome.
I'll breathe now. Yeah. Nothing scarier than a missing child on his way to school. Your imagination just goes nuts, and thank heavens he was found safe. So that's good.
Especially in, winter.
Yeah, exactly. All right, 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. Anyway, what I was saying is if, huge if Donald Trump gets into the presidency, all right, I think he may find himself all alone in the White House, and he may have to govern by executive action because no one will want to work with him.
That's not an unheard of thing.
Well, I know that, but see, there are people. I don't know. He just seems to me to be such a polarizing figure that either you absolutely love him or you absolutely despise him. So
sure, he does shake out the middle ground
there,
pretty quick.
There isn't a whole lot of middle ground there. Good morning, Emmett. What's on your mind, sir?
Oh, thanks for taking my call. Yes, as a big Trump supporter myself, I was thrilled and excited that Sarah Palin endorsed him, and that he went to, I think it was Liberty University, and he was endorsed there, and he's spoken out in favor of Christianity.
Well, don't forget the John Wayne Museum.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's even better. That's not even better, but that's another feather in his cap. A lot of people have said that he's not a true conservative. He's given to the Clinton Foundation and such. He was on Fox News with Bill O'Reilly, and it made sense that since he was a businessman, he had to court not a lot of favors, but do a lot of things with a lot of people, including liberals, to help his business. It just makes sense, and he didn't vote for anyone like Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. No, he didn't. But, it's just one of those things that if you're a businessman, you've got to work with a whole bunch of people, not just Republicans. As far as him in the White House, well, wasn't Nixon kind of a loner in the White House? He was alone a lot of the time.
Emmett, I got to hang up on you. I would like you to think about something. How do you deal, as a Christian, as a Catholic, with Donald Trump's pro-choice stand in the past? There's audio about it. I'm curious how you deal with that.
Okay, let's continue on, and let's get Dave on the line. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
What's up?
I thought I'd call about Ted Cruz.
Okay.
He's the only candidate that I will not support because of his value-added tax.
Okay. I tell you what, Dave, would you
stay on the line, Dave? We've got a special announcement here coming.
Okay, let's get him on hold there. All right, you got it. All right, perfect. We're going live right now. All right. Yeah, on the line right now is Greg Gianforte, and good morning, Mr. Gianforte. How are you, sir?
Good, John. My pleasure to be with you.
You bet. This is Peter Christian. That's John King over there. And
okay.
I understand you've made the big announcement.
We did. We just finished up an event in Billings. We had a great turnout. And what we announced was that I have decided, after much reflection and visiting with Montanans all over the state, that I have thrown my hat in the ring as a candidate for governor of Montana.
All right, what's the biggest issue for you? What is issue number one? We've actually been talking about issues all day on Talkback. I want to hear what Greg Gianforte has taken on as its main issue.
Well, I think as I've done hundreds and hundreds of meetings all over the state in the last few months, and it's less about me and more about what Montana needs. And the thing I've heard over and over again is that we just don't have enough high-wage jobs. That's my background. People that know me know that we started a small business in our home, created 1,100 jobs in the Bozeman area, most of them average wage almost $90,000 a year. And unfortunately today we're 49th in the country in wages, and too many of our young people have to leave. That's the primary issue.
Now, Greg, I just attended a conference yesterday in Missoula, the state of Missoula, put on by the Chamber of Commerce and our friends at Neptune Aviation. Anyway, it was called Help Wanted. The fact that within the next 10 years, there are not enough young people to fill jobs that are existent right now. That baby boomers are retiring, and there's not enough young people to fill those jobs. So they're talking about training and trying to get things up and running. How do you see that situation?
Yeah, there's no question. We have to do a better job of preparing our young people for the jobs of the future, the high-wage jobs. I think that's why we started the Code Montana program to get computer science into every high school. I also think, as I talk to construction people and manufacturers, they can't find people with trades. And
exactly,
I think we need to be doubling down on our trades education, because today we force too many young people into a 4-year degree that may not be a very good fit, and you don't need a 4-year degree to be successful here in Montana.
Ask a master plumber how much he or she makes, and then talk to a teacher or whatever, and I think you might be surprised.
Yeah, we need things built. We have some fantastic manufacturers in the state. Many of them have told me they could double the size of their business if they could find people with skills. I was talking with Tom Spica. We're going to be in Lewistown a little bit later today. He told me that he could double the size of his business there doing aluminum fabrication if he could find people with basic skills. And I asked Tom, I said, well, what skills are you looking for? And he said, well, I need somebody with a high school diploma who can measure a piece of material and cut it to length.
Wow.
And I said, Tom, that sounds like shop class. He says, exactly. Could we get shop class back?
You bet.
Now, before you even announced, I got, because I'm signed up for all the Democrats and Republicans' mail, there was a hit piece out against you from the Democrats this morning already. My question for you is this. How do you see yourself doing things differently than our current governor?
Well, there's a number of areas. First, I have a belief that opportunity and prosperity are only created by small businesses and the private sector. So my first initiative, and I'll share it with you right here, we're going to start a regulation roundup. We're going to visit with small business owners all over the state and find out what regulations are getting in the way of them thriving. And then we'll sort through them, figure out which ones are excessive, and we'll round them up, and we'll send the excessive ones out to pasture.
Are there any that you can name yet? I mean, you've been in the business world for a while. I'm sure there's some on the top of your list.
Oh, there's many. I mean, you think about it in the construction industry. Today, if you get mud on your boots on a construction site and you walk in the street, it's no longer mud, it's a pollutant, and you can get fined if it falls off your boot.
Wow.
I mean, we just need to bring some common sense.
Sure.
I think the second thing is we need new leadership in state agencies who have actually worked in industry. Simple things like we've seen a delay and procrastination associated with permits in our natural resources industries. I'd like to see somebody from industry in charge of the Montana Department of Environmental Quality. And it may sound like a crazy idea, but what if we had at the Department of Labor somebody running that agency who's actually had an employee?
Okay, now I have a question for you, Greg, and this has been the common deal whenever I get one of these hit pieces. They say, this out-of-state billionaire wants to come into Montana and change our values. So how do you respond to that?
Well, a lot of this stuff is so shrill. It's just most Montanans are smarter than that. I first came to Montana 40 years ago. We've been climbing in the backcountry. My wife and I have raised our 4 kids in Bozeman. We started a business in our home. It's still the same home we live in Montana. I think Montanans are smarter than that.
We have 1 minute left.
All right. Well, as far as the tour, I guess you're doing a little bit of a jump from city to city, kind of making your announcement. Where are you going next?
We're on our way to Sydney. We're going to be at Richland Pump and Supply right around 11:30 today. Then we'll be in Lewistown, and then we'll be up in the Flathead later today. We'll be in Missoula tomorrow. And the details on that, if people in Missoula are interested, you can go to our Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/Greg4Montana, and it's open to the public right in downtown Missoula. It'll be tomorrow, I think early afternoon. I don't have the time right in front of me, but it's up on the webpage.
Great. Greg, it's a pleasure to visit with you. We hope to have you on, and also Governor Bullock on lots of times during this campaign to let you guys, talk it out.
Well, Peter and John, I always enjoy my time with you, and thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Take care.